I said this last week and I'll say it this week. No, Ewers should not be benched. Taking his stats by themselves without the context of anything that happened during the game, 25 of 43 for 211 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Not the worst game of all time. It's kind of like a median game statistically. Much better statistically than Carson Beck's 3 interception day. His issues were more related to the offensive line's just awful play, not really himself. Arch Manning did go in at the end of the second half, and he did not do good at all. He went 3 of 6, 19 yards, got 2 sacks in like 3 minutes, and one of them resulting in that fumble, as we talked about earlier. Yes, some of that was the offensive line's ineffectiveness, but throughout the game, we saw that Ewers, even with that small sample size of Manning, Ewers just was better against Georgia than Manning was in the end of that second quarter. So going off what we saw Saturday, there's no reason to bench Ewers just because Manning is as hyped of a backup as he is. Welcome back to College Press Box. Let's take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports. 7th-ranked Texas women's volleyball defeated South Carolina in their SEC home opener on Wednesday, sweeping the Gamecocks 3-0. Jenna Wennis led in kills with 11, and Mariana Singletary led in blocks, tallying 8. UT Volleyball also played a top 25 match against 18th-ranked Florida on Sunday, sweeping again in a huge 3-0 victory where Madison Skinner led in kills with 12, and Singletary once again led blocks with 10. Okay, so I'm going to go with a really great player on a really horrible team, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is having I have not heard a lot about this guy, but 30 receptions, 513 yards, 4 touchdowns. The yards and touchdowns in the top 10 of the NFL. He's got 17.1 yards per catch, and quarterback is Trevor Lawrence, which is not, he hasn't been setting the world on fire in a really long time. I think that the fact that he's doing this all with Trevor Lawrence, imagine if he had a real quarterback, like that would be just insane. I think that I originally was looking at your major options, your Malik Neighbors, but Brian Thomas Jr. is actually having a better season than Malik Neighbors in basically every statistical category. 7 more yards per catch, less receptions, more yards, and 1 more touchdown. I think that it's a great pickup. Once the Jaguars can actually get a real quarterback that doesn't, suck for $65 million a year, that he will become one of the top wide receivers in the league, and I think he's already showing that this year.
Who's your who's hot?
All right, my who's hot, we're going to go to the National League Championship Series. We're going to go third baseman Mark Vientos of the New York Mets. He has been on a tear all postseason. He's 17 of 46. He has a 370 average. That is that's over 100 percentage points. I think that's how you can say it. He had a 266 in the regular season. He has a 370 in the postseason. 4 home runs, including this grand slam in Game 2. 12 RBIs for a 1.070 OPS. He has been absolutely instrumental in the Grimace Mets' immaculate run to the National League Championship Series. And even last night, did they lose? Yes, but he had another home run just to try to help his team out as much as possible. He's been on a tear this postseason. You had a fantastic game today. 11 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. What did you see in Kentucky's offensive line that allowed you to just sniff out when you could make that pressure and make those plays?
I just want to credit just the film room and Coach Nansen for getting us prepared, and Leonga, David, Mo for always just being there and being next to me and just continue to do our job every play.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
You have an offense with Alan Lazard and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall and Tyler Conklin and Aaron Rodgers. That should already be good enough on paper to overpower 75% of the defenses in the NFL. The fact that that hasn't been happening is basically inexcusable. Now, they did fire Coach Robert Saleh this past week, so they do have a new interim coach. Jeff Ulbrich, he did lose his first game, but we can see if he's going to help. But when you're getting Devontae Adams, you're filling a hole that doesn't exist, and it shouldn't exist with all the pieces that you have. The issue is none of them are playing to their potential because the coaching has been absolutely abysmal. But the coach that you fired is not the one that's calling plays. Nathaniel Hackett's still employed there. We know from the past couple years he cannot call plays. It's just not going to happen. So you can put the best people in, but if your coaching sucks, it's not going to happen. Thanks to the Texas defense, they pulled out on top thanks to a lights-out performance from Anthony Hill Jr., where he had 11 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, en route to help the Texas Longhorns win 31-14 on senior night, where multiple seniors played what might just be their final game. I'm Tyler Strempel for TSTV.